I think a lot of people assume that farmers were, obligated to stay, have never left, never moved, never gone to college, never traveled. And for us, that's not the case. We chose to come back.
We were just kind of doing the tech thing. And we biked to work and ate out all the time and took our dog to dog parks. We sat in traffic, went to a concert in the park nights.
When we moved, I remember I just had Juliet. She was a newborn, and a lot of the cute houses in our neighborhood had been torn down, and they put in the double, 3-story duplexes. And so the pros of living in the city, the things we loved about it, were sort of slowly slipping away, and I was ready, and definitely feeling like we had one foot in down here and one foot up there, and sort of that gray area. And I was tired of talking about when or if we move, and finally we were just like, we're doing it.
My great-great-grandpa moved here to be the town doctor in the early 1900s, and his son moved home and started the farm after World War I. And each generation we've all gone away, and then eventually you have kids and you move home to the farm.
There's our house. See the mud house?
As the farm got more specialized, my grandpa would put on some fertilizer, he'd put on some fungicide, and all of a sudden it gets to my childhood and you're putting on a lot of fertilizer, you're putting on 3 fungicides, maybe 4 fungicides, maybe an insecticide. And I don't know, I think my dad just kind of saw that trajectory and just wanted to do something different.
People are just not naturally prone to accept anything new that comes down the pike. And when you get into the kind of regenerative farming, it really takes a paradigm shift in your thinking, because it is a different method, and it operates on soil health, not on what kind of inputs I can do to offset what nature does to me.
Potatoes are notoriously hard on soil, and there's no easy way to put a potato in the ground, and there's definitely not an easy way to take a potato out of the ground with our kind of normal industrial equipment. So that disruption really does upset your kind of soil biome. The more we can kind of diversify our markets part, that allows us to have longer crop rotations and hopefully just less disruption of our soil so we can sequester more carbon.
Our goal is to be really intentional with what we plant for not only soil health, but also markets. You can't deny that if you have living soil filled with living things, the potato, the vegetable grown in that is going to be richer, more nutritious, more beautiful, just more alive.
This is the one I call the Jerry Garcia. It's the purple tie-dye on the inside.
We've lost the variety and the flavor in a lot of things. And so for us, we really wanted to bring back variety to the potato. When you look at pictures of like the Peruvian potatoes, from the Andean mountains, they're really funky shapes and sizes, and the colors are phenomenal. With the darker vegetables, we're learning they're 4 times higher in antioxidants and anthocyanins. And I've had people say, like, this is the best potato I've ever had, or I didn't know potatoes tasted like this. My goal was to get in with Whole Foods, the sort of gold standard. It was 5-6 years ago, and just sort of brought in our different varieties of potatoes and showed them our product, and they were interested and excited.
The foragers are extremely just enthusiastic. Kenny Meyer has been a great partner, and they're just very realistic. They make sure we don't do anything crazy and go invest in $500,000 of equipment for an experimental grocery store product. We work hand in hand with them when we're planting. They're really pushing hard for us to come up with quantitative measurements to prove that the way we're farming is benefiting the environment, it's benefiting the consumer, the food, and everything.
Most grocery stores don't necessarily have the time or care about that relationship. And I think that that's missing, right? The human aspect. There was a time where I had mentioned lowering our price, and they essentially pushed back and said, please don't. Like, this is working for us. Is this working for you? If it is, we're good. Like, let's not touch that. And so that was huge to actually have a buyer encourage us to not lower our price. I think it's unfair for people to question, like, why are there only 1% of organic farms? Why are all of these family farms going away and diminishing? And yet in the next breath, they're beating you up on pricing and just wanting it all, or wanting more and wanting it for less money. And you're like, you can't have it both ways. It takes a lot more time, a lot more energy, a lot more diesel. Don't ask why it's so expensive to buy organic or to buy from a local family farm. Ask why it's so cheap. And at what cost does that have? Buying that cheap of a product, what cost could that potentially have on your health? Giving up the 6-figure salary, the 401ks, the vacation time, having weekends was hard. But luckily, it's working.
There are good days and there's bad days. We have crazy dust storms here when I'm like, maybe I wish I was sitting in that boardroom right now with my snacks and little sandwich platter in the corner, but we haven't had any serious discussions about crawling back to corporate America yet. We're within our water kind of allotment, we're building soil, we have healthy markets, and I think to have a healthy, functioning farm, that's something to really be proud of. People are watching us, and I think we're kind of a unique spot where we're definitely from here. We're still part of that normal farm clique, but we're doing it different. If we can do it and that market keeps growing, I have no question that other people would sign up for that and kind of start doing some of the same stuff that we do.